But now what we're going to go into is Corz Online. So what Corinne does is she actually helps schools with their social media, and how do you put yourself out there, and what's the purpose of doing that, and why you should be doing that within your schools. And also looking at what does your website look like, how does that work, and how do you engage. Joel, is Corinne there?
Hello.
So hi, Corinne, over to you.
Cool, thank you. So social media for me, I don't just work with schools. I work with a whole range of different clients, basing from event planners to mentors, coaches, professional athletes, sporting organizations. But I work in the schooling environment, so school for me and education, and the social media side of things is a little bit of a passion of mine. So what's really cool about social media in general is that you need to see it as a personality, and you need to be communicating as if you are just as a person. So in the way that you comment and the way that you're sharing content, looking at your school's ethos, looking at your school's values and missions, and how you are wanting to portray everything that's that stands for your school's environment, and are you communicating in that way on your social media platforms. What's interesting though is that it's something to take into consideration if a lot of your school marketers are not aware, is that each of the different platforms have different age groups. So your Facebook is often more for your parents. Instagram, you'll find a lot of your students use Instagram. And what's really interesting that I've seen quite a few schools do is that their own students manage the Instagram account. So it's overseen by the marketing department, but then the content that's shared on Instagram is shared via the students to the students, which is a really cool concept. And I think would be quite special for a lot of schools to get involved in. When it comes to also the way in which you're sharing your content, brand identity is a really big thing. So not just sharing pictures onto social media, but having a look at the way in which you're sharing them. Are you sharing something that's standing true? Again, is there some sort of design on the back end of the way in which you're sharing it, the look and feel of everything that you're sharing on social media? It's not just on your website that you can do that. And there's some really special, simple, easy to use apps that you can do design on that you don't need to have Photoshop to use. Very user-friendly, very easy to navigate around. When it comes to websites, I think, you know, people, if we look at society today, we're moving more into the visual side of things, and how you portraying your school on your website needs to be a lot more visual. And it's a discussion that I have quite often, that with a few different clients, not just on a school basis, but how are you looking at sort of minimizing the amount of wording that you put on there and making it a lot more visual and a lot more interactive. A really cool example is St. Stithians College. They now have a 360-degree view all the way around their school that's on their website, that you can do a tour of the school online via their website. Which sums up quite a lot of what the school stands for and what the school looks like. Rather than having static pictures, there's a lot more things that you can incorporate. It's a very cool website to have a look at. Yeah, and then from just like in general, I think it's really important that you're looking at how you are putting your school out onto social media. What are you putting out there? Is it just your awards? Is it just, you know, like highlights? But I think what will get a lot more traction for schools is what you're sharing from what's happening inside the classroom. So you know, if you're doing a lot of new things, if you are high school, moving into the different classes, having a look at what each subject does online, well, sharing it online at least. And yeah, so have a look at the ways in which you can share a lot more content from what's going on, not just from a sports and cultural perspective, which a lot of schools tend to do, but what's happening in your classroom that will speak to a lot of parents that are looking at schools. So yes, your website can tell a story, but social media should too. A lot of the content that you share on your social media pages as the school, parents will then share to their own private Facebook profiles, and parents will then, well, from there, you then getting all of their own followers, their own Facebook friends interacting with that. And if you're wanting to try and push a really good name out for your school, have a look at the way in which you're sharing content and what you're sharing. Yeah, so that pretty much sums it up. I didn't have a little bit shorter than the full 15 minutes. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
So, hi, Corinne. If you look at what you were talking about and you think of all the different websites that you've seen on schools' different platforms, what's the kind of one tip that you would give the school that they should look at first when they're looking at their websites?
Well, to make it more visual, that you can't have it and a lot more modern. I've seen a lot of really old looking websites. And we need to, like I said, with St. Stithians, they now have a 360-degree view of their school or tour that you can go online through their websites and navigate around the school like that. But making it a lot more visual and quite a lot less text.
So if we're talking about, I'm assuming when you're talking about Instagram, you're talking about high school children with related to the age of children having access. So yes. How much freedom do you give children if they're looking at Instagram? How much freedom do you give the children to create that content? And how much do you think the school actually checks that before it goes out?
I think it needs to be monitored by the marketing manager, but I also think it's a really good learning opportunity for kids. So we're not just looking at spaces where we, not spaces, but careers that are not just degree-based now. But if you're looking at a lot of skills, we are moving a lot more digital marketing, the digital world, everything is starting to move more online. So if you're giving children the opportunities to be able to then share the content onto Instagram, you adding another skill and teaching them another skill that then they can use later in life once they leave school. So as long as it's monitored by your marketing managing team, it needs to be overseen, especially with the way that you're wanting to portray what's being put out there. But you need to be aware, I think not aware, but I think if you're empowering the kids, I think it's a really good opportunity to teach kids. And it could be something that you can incorporate into a journalism club. If you have a journalism club at the school, incorporating into, I don't know, any form of your committees where you're looking at anything to get involved, or a whole new committee to start within your school.
So if you think about social media and the impact that it has, both positive and negative, and you think about the different schools around us, how do you think we can make children more aware of their safety and security through the school's website? What are the kinds of things that you could perhaps get the children to research or explore other than just events? Are there things where you could get the children aware of their internet safety and things with doing this?
So just taking a step back with internet safety, I don't think it should just be reliant on the children. Yes, we need to empower them and we need to be teaching them about it. But I think it also needs to come from the parents. They are still children and they are still in school. And one of the concerning things that I often hear is that children will be on Facebook and Instagram, but their parents are not on it or not at least following it, and they have no idea how the app works. And if you as a parent are allowing your child to use things like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of those different types of apps, you need to be able to make sure that you are aware of how these different apps work. But I don't think it should just be put on the website. I know that a lot of students might not necessarily go and have a look at a website, but if you're making it a part of perhaps your LO syllabus, getting someone in to have the discussion with the kids and different things that they need to be aware of. There's some really good speakers out there, social media lawyers that are now involved, that are also worth getting into schools to have the discussion with. But it shouldn't be left just up to the students. It should be a discussion that should be had with the parents too.
Thank you. Thank you so much for and participating in the chat. It's really nice to hear. I do think social media is really, really important. So thank you for your time. Thank you also for all your help with the product. For those of you who don't know, Corinne's my daughter, and she's helped put this together. So she's helped with the whole love of the organization, and she developed the web page for the program, the one with all those pretty pictures revolving. So thank you so much for your time and for helping and for your contribution today in sharing with everybody. So thanks very much.